Hello chess fanatics from all over the world. Here is All in Chess from Croatia, and today I want to show you one game I played last year on playchess.com. It was a very nice game. It was All in Chess, as I already mentioned. That's my nickname, and you will see today why they call me All in Chess. Before I start with the game, I want to say a few things about my chess philosophy. My chess philosophy is very simple. I want to attack you, I want to sacrifice, and I want to mate you. That's basically my chess philosophy in every game. It doesn't work every time, but when it works, it's usually very nice, as you will see in this game also. Okay. This was a rapid game, and my opponent was rated about 2100. So he wasn't just some putzer, he was a pretty solid player, but the game was very interesting and it was very tough for my opponent, and in a critical moment, as people usually do, they don't find best moves like computers. People are not computers, so Michael Tal was right. People, you should play attacking chess, because if you play positionally, then you give your opponent more chance to find a good moves. But when you start sacrificing and start playing wild chess, people usually get lost. Okay, this was a joke. Let's go with the game. e4, e6. It all started pretty usually with a French defense, whenever variation. Okay, this move bishop b4 is very popular and very solid for black. And now, main move, as you all know, is e5. I choose a different setup for white. I took on d5 and played bishop d3. Okay, this line is considered to be a drawish line, pretty slow line, not so attacking and tactical as in the main lines, but people are very wrong at this assessment, because this line can be very dangerous for black if he misplays. And my opponent plays the move that is not so popular, and I was pretty happy when he played knight f6, because the usual move for black is knight to e7 and trying to get that bishop out on f5 as soon as possible. So, game continued. Knight g2, castles, and now bishop g4. Now my opponent develops his bishop and he wants to take on e2 and get rid of that bad French bishop. You all know they call that bishop on c8 a bad bishop. But now I won't allow it. Game continues pretty slowly, and you might think, what is this guy talking about? What tactics? This position is pretty dull and boring. Yeah, that's true for now, but let's go on. Bishop g5, c6, all normal developing moves. Now knight g3 attacking that bishop, bishop g6. Black seems perfectly okay, and his position is perfectly okay. And now knight f5. Okay. Here it's an about equal position, and I'm trying to get my pieces as close as possible to opponent's king. Of course, black won't take on f5, because then not only he would give a bishop pair, but he would have a problem with that knight on f6 because it's pinned, and probably he would have to lose another tempo to go bishop e7, and that wouldn't be good for black. But black plays normally developing moves. Knight to d7, a3, bishop to a5. Of course, black doesn't want to take on c3 and give a black bishop, because then my bishop on g5 would be very strong and black wouldn't have a piece to oppose that bishop. Of course, he retreats on a5. f4, bishop to b6, e6, pressuring on d4. It's a good move. Knight to e2, defending. Queen moves away from the pin. It's all natural, quiet game. c3, rook to e8, and knight e to g3. Okay, let's stop here for a minute. Both sides develop their pieces, and now middle game begins. As you can see, my plan is to, I don't know, I just wanted to build up on the king side and try to provoke some weaknesses in black's camp and try to make something happen there. Of course, black is perfectly fine now in this position. He plays normal move c5, pressuring on a d4 square. It's a very good move. And now comes the first shocker, knight g7. Okay, this move, it's not objectively the best move, but now I start to play the game the way I like it. I sacrifice my knight on g7 to shatter king's shelter and to try to get some attack going. Of course, black must take, and now f5. cd4, and now I took my piece back. Of course, I saw this check, king h1. Okay, this is the critical position of the game. In this position, black has only one good move which gives him advantage. And it's not so easy to play such a move, because it seems like white has nothing. What is white doing here in this position? He sacked a piece, he get that piece back, but black took 2 pawns, and now black is 2 pawns up, and I don't see any attack for white. And that was black's thinking, and black pretty quickly took on b2. Why not? That pawn is hanging, now rook is hanging. But that was a wrong move. According to Rybka, the best move and the only best move for black was to take on g6. And after this move, black would have the advantage. After rook c1, rook h8, very strong move, threatening rook h2 and rook h8 with a mating attack. And so white would be forced to play bishop f4, attacking queen, and according to Rybka, after knight e5, black holds the advantage because he's a 2 pawns up. But this is a computer line. It's not so easy for a human to play like this, and it's understandable that my opponent took on b2. And now miracles start to happen. After this pretty normal natural move, black is lost. And the key move, if you want to find it, you can pause the video, but the key move here is knight to h5, check. Okay, after this move, things are getting very, very bad for black. Of course, you cannot take on h5, because if you take on h5, then queen takes h5 is crushing, because let's suppose you take on h5, queen takes on h5, and now what can you do? What can black do? It's, you know, if you take fg, then pretty simple move like rook f7 ends the game, because if you take, I take on h7, and after king e6, rook e1, where can black can go? You can interpose, I don't know, queen e5, but after queen takes g6 and knight f6, rook takes e5, it's all over. You cannot take on e5 because queen f6 will be a checkmate, and if you you go on d7, queen g7 and so on, we don't want to look at this. Okay, so let's go back. After knight h5, black must play with his king. Black went on h8. Okay. Now I had a very strong move. Maybe bishop takes f6, but okay, I took on f6. The idea is that now white is threatening to go queen h5 and mate is pretty close. Black took on a1. No, black didn't took on a1, sorry. Black didn't took on a1 because if he takes on a1, I'll show that. If he takes on a1, then after queen a1 he has only moved queen e5, and pretty simple win is takes and takes on e8, because black cannot take rook e8 because of bishop f6 check, and then taking on h7, it's crushing. But and if he takes on d3, then of course bishop f6, and I don't know, it's all over. So black took with ag. Black took ag, and now queen to g4, threatening queen h4 with a instant mating attack. So black played the only move, king g7. Okay, so here is a few ways for white to win the game, but I choose less effective one. The computer says bishop h6 is crushing. I didn't see that. I took on e8. I had another idea. Rook e8, and now I played rook takes f7. Okay, another sacrifice. The idea is to weaken g6 square, where my queen and my bishop are aiming, and try to mate. Okay, he must take, and now rook f1, king g8. What's the follow-up now? What's the idea? I saw that move before I took on f7. I had to see that. What can white do now? White sacrificed pretty much material, and what's the follow-up? Now bang, bishop e7. That's called opening of the file for the queen to take on g6 and to mate. So black cannot take on e7. Black played move knight e5, which is good as any move. Queen c6 maybe slightly better, says Rybka, but it's also easily winning after bishop takes g6, knight e5, bishop f7 double check, king h7 and queen f5 check, and it's all over, because if knight g6, then bishop f6 and queen h5 is going to be a mate. Black can give his queen on queen f6, but it's all over. Okay, so black played knight f5. That was his idea. Defending on g6, attacking my queen, attacking my bishop, but white has this check on e6, and after king h7, here comes another blow. Can you see it? It's not that easy. It's not that difficult, sorry. It's actually forced mating. Now the other rook is sacrificing on f7. Wow, because the whole point is to deflect black's pieces from defending the g6 square. And after knight takes, queen takes on g6, king h8, queen to h7 is a checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this game, and hope to see you soon. Thank you and good night.